Welcome to welcome to Python learning session. Today we'll be talking about tuples and list. Specifically, we'll be talking about tab 3 and 10 from the course. Tab 3 is about writing a procedure called rtuples, and tab 10 is about creating a function as an object. Now let's get started, shall we? All right. So let's tab 3 says write a procedure called rtuples, which takes a tuple as an input and returns a new tuple as output, where every other element of the input tuple is copied, starting with the first one. So, the test is a tuple, I am a test tuple. Then, evaluating R tuple on this input would return tuple, I am a tuple. Now, looking at this question, can you tell me what would be the best way to implement this? Think for a second. Let me tell you how to do this, or let me show you. For this, we need to create a function called rtuple. Let me get started. Def odd tuples a tuple. This is a function we'll create, and then we need to return a tuple. This is a function. This is a list or tuple we are going to return, and here we'll slice it. We'll start from the first, and we'll go to the last, and we'll take every next tuple from there, and we'll return that to the user. Now, let's implement this, and let's see how it's going. Let's do test. Let's create a tuple, test, and let's use this tuple. Let's provide it to us. This is a test tuple we need to test on. Now we have this assigned to this. Let's see how it works. We have assigned that test tuple into a test variable, and let's run this and see how it works. Okay, it works. Now I will implement this rtuples on the test tuple and see what result it would give us. Test. Now if I run this, can you tell me what would be the output of this? Think for a second. The output of this should give us is I, because it's going to start from 0, and we'll skip, it will take not one step but two steps. It will give us a, and it should give us tuple. So I, a tuple. Let's run this and see what it will give. There you go, I, a tuple. And this is exactly what we need. Now, moving on to next part of our session, that's going to be a tab 10 function as objects. In this, we'll implement a we'll implement a function called apply to each, and this should give us a function that would take function as the input and give us some result that apply to the list or whatever the input we have. It should apply to the iterative or some kind of like a object that can be iterated. Will that apply function each of those and give us the output. Let's get started. Definition: apply to each, and this is a function we want to apply. Here what we have is a L. L is a list or some kind of a thing that can be iterated upon. Now we will go through the each of the will enumerate this list such that it will give us a index as well as a value from the list. Then what we'll do is we'll apply the f, which is the input function, and we'll apply on each element of the list and modify it. That is, we'll give I and we'll modify based upon the function that has been provided to us in the input. So this is going to be a new value of that. That's a function. Let's see if it works. It works. Now we should create some kind of like a test list for to test this function, and let's create this. Let's accept this as it is because I feel like it. And now let's apply this new list. Let's create a new output variable called new list one. That's gonna apply this function, apply to each to the test list, and let's use absolute as an example function, and let's output this to new list. Let's output this and let's see what would give us. Now, can you tell me what would be the output of this when I run this? Think for a second. Let me tell you, once you run this, it should give us absolute value of each of the item from the list. So absolute value of 1 is 1, 4 minus 4 is 4, 8 is 8, minus 9 is plus 9. Now let's run this. Now I think I have to print this because without printing it will not come out. Let's print this. Oh, okay. Because I'm not returning anything, that's why it is not giving me. So that means I have to return the L. That's why it was not giving me anything. Now it's giving me 1, 4, 8, and 9. That's the output we need. We can also try for different other functions, such as int function. Let's do this. Let's do int function and see what it would give us. Let's add that as well to the output. It's the same. We can apply another 2 and add this to the output as well. And let's see what it would give us. 2, 5, 9, 8, 10, because it's going to add 1 to each of those and give us output. So that's all for today. Let me quickly summarize what we learned today. We learned about two things. We learned about our tuples as well as a function and object. In our tuples, we talked about slicing, how we can slice a tuple using a slicing parameter in the tuple and you can take every other object items from the tuples and print out the list, print out the tuple. And secondly, we talked about how we can use a function to take the function as the input itself and then apply to each value of the list or some kind of like a iterative items and then give that as an output. And just a side note is that we can only do a list. We cannot do for strings. We cannot do this for tuples because those are immutables. only list is immutable. So we have to always do that on list, not in any other items. Or we can do on set, because list is only we can do on set, because list set is we can do, because set is can be is mutable, but list is also mutable. String and the tuples are not mutable, and because of that, we cannot do that apply to each on those kind of iterative objects. So that's all today. I'll see you next lesson. Thank you so much.